The draw just dropped, and it is absolutely stacked. Eala, 20 years old, ranked 45th in the world, a girl who was not even supposed to be in this tournament, who only got into the main draw because Zheng pulled out with an injury, has just found out who she could be facing at the 2026 Porsche Tennis Grand Prix in Stuttgart. And when you look at that draw, when you really sit down and understand who is in it and what each potential match means, you realize that what is unfolding in Stuttgart is not just a tennis tournament. It is a statement. It is Eala walking into one of the most prestigious women's tennis events in the world through the back door as a late replacement, and being handed the kind of draw that would make any player in the world take a deep breath. 6 of the top 10 women in the world are in this field. 3 Grand Slam champions are making their 2026 clay season debuts right here in Stuttgart. The defending champion is in the draw. A Porsche 911 Carrera S Cabriolet in tennis ball yellow is sitting at the finish line waiting for whoever survives. And Eala is in the middle of all of it. This is the full breakdown of the Stuttgart draw, what it means for Eala, and why this tournament could be the most important week of her clay season. Let us start with how she even got here, because the path to Stuttgart for Eala is its own story. When the original entry list for the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix was published, Eala was not in it. She was ranked just inside the top 50, not quite high enough to earn direct entry into a 28-player field that was already filled with some of the best players in the world. She was going to have to qualify. She was going to have to play qualifying matches on Friday and Saturday before she could even get into the main draw. For a player who had just come off a round of 16 exit in Linz and was trying to build momentum on clay heading into Madrid and Roland Garros, the prospect of having to play 3 qualifying matches before even starting the main draw was not ideal. And then Zheng withdrew. The Paris Olympic gold medalist, ranked 37th in the world, pulled out with an injury that had been affecting her ever since the hard court swing. The Stuttgart tournament organization responded immediately with a statement that became one of the most talked about tournament announcements in recent memory. They did not just say Zheng is out and Eala is in. They said fans can now look forward to seeing Alexandra step in. They welcomed her arrival as an event, as a moment, as something to be excited about, because they know exactly what Eala's presence means for ticket sales, for social media, for the atmosphere inside the Porsche Arena, and for the overall story of their tournament. And just like that, Eala went from being someone who might not even make the main draw to being one of the most discussed names in the entire field. Now let's talk about that field, because it is genuinely extraordinary for a 28-player draw at a WTA 500 event. Elena Rybakina is the top seed. The Kazakh player is ranked 2nd in the world, behind only Aryna Sabalenka, who pulled out of Stuttgart with an injury sustained during practice in Miami. Rybakina is a Wimbledon champion. She is one of the most powerful servers in women's tennis. She is the player who on her best day can beat anyone in the world on any surface. She arrives in Stuttgart as the clear favorite with the world number 1 absent. Coco Gauff is the 2nd seed. The American is ranked 3rd in the world. She is the reigning Roland Garros champion. She is making her 2026 clay season debut right here in Stuttgart. Every match she plays this week is preparation for Paris, and she is going to be locked in and fully motivated from the very first ball. Iga Swiatek is the 3rd seed. The Polish player is a 4-time French Open champion. She has won Stuttgart twice before, in 2022 and in 2023. She knows this tournament, she knows this surface, and she knows how to win here. She is also making her 2026 clay debut in Stuttgart. And she is coming in with a new coaching arrangement, having recently confirmed her partnership with Francisco Roig, the former coach of Carlos Moya. The clay season is the moment of the year that Swiatek has historically owned. She is not coming to Stuttgart to warm up. She is coming to win. Elina Svitolina is the 4th seed. Jasmine Paolini, who Eala has already beaten in Dubai earlier this year, is the 5th seed. Mira Andreeva is the 6th seed. Karolina Muchova, the player who beat Eala convincingly in the round of 16 at Miami, is the 7th seed. Ekaterina Alexandrova, the defending Linz champion, is the 8th seed. And sitting in the draw as an unseeded player, representing the Philippines, holding a 15-8 match record for 2026, and a winning record against top 10 players, is Alexandra Eala. Now let us get to the draw itself, because it was released today, April 11th, and the specific section of the draw that Eala landed in is something every tennis fan needs to understand. Eala is in the same quarter of the draw as top seed Elena Rybakina. Also in that section are 5th seed Jasmine Paolini and Leylah Fernandez. What that means in practical terms is that Eala, Paolini, and Fernandez are all on the same side of the bracket, and the player who comes out of that section will face Rybakina in the quarterfinals. So Eala's projected path, if she wins her first-round match, leads her toward a rematch with Jasmine Paolini in the second round. The same Jasmine Paolini she beat 6-1, 7-6 in Dubai in February. The same world number 5 who has an 81% win rate on clay over the past year. The same player who is 5-seeded at Stuttgart and arriving here hungry for revenge on a surface she loves. And if Eala gets through that, she is looking at potentially Rybakina in the quarterfinals. The Wimbledon champion, the world number 2, on clay. On the other half of the draw, the action is equally compelling. 2nd seed, Gauff, opens against either Antonia Ruzic or Lyudmila Samsonova. She is projected to meet 7th seed Muchova in the quarterfinals. 3rd seed Swiatek faces either Laura Siegemund or Magdalena Frech in her opener. And then there is a blockbuster first-round clash that the entire tennis world is watching. 6th seed Mira Andreeva against defending champion Yelena Ostapenko. Ostapenko, who beat Eala in Linz just 3 days ago, and who came into Stuttgart as the defending champion, having beaten Swiatek and Sabalenka here last year, is walking straight into a first-round match against one of the best young players in the game. Andreeva versus Ostapenko in round 1. That is a match that could easily be a semifinal at any other tournament. Now let us zoom in on what all of this means specifically for Alex Eala and her Stuttgart campaign. Our first-round opponent has not been confirmed yet at the time of this video, but whoever she faces in the first round, the path forward immediately becomes extremely challenging. Stuttgart uses a 28-player draw, with the top 4 seeds receiving a bye into the second round. That means Eala is in the round of 32, playing a first-round match, and then if she wins that, she is potentially in a rematch with Paolini in the round of 16. Let us be completely honest about what a Paolini rematch on clay means. In Dubai, Eala caught Paolini on hardcourt, came out of nowhere with a 6-1 first set that was as dominant as any set she has played all year, and held off a ferocious comeback to win in a tiebreak. That was on hardcourt, Eala's best surface, Paolini's less comfortable surface. Stuttgart is indoor clay, and on clay, Jasmine Paolini is a completely different animal. Over the past 52 weeks, she has won 81% of her clay matches. She is a former French Open finalist. She knows exactly how to extend rallies, how to grind down opponents over long baseline exchanges, and how to make the slower bounce of clay work in her favor. The rematch is going to be a different test entirely. But here is what makes this entire scenario so fascinating. Eala already beat her once. She already has that knowledge, that confidence, that specific memory of having outplayed Jasmine Paolini in a high-pressure match at a major WTA event. And she is coming into Stuttgart with Tony Nadal's clay court work freshly embedded in her preparation. She worked specifically on movement and long rally consistency at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca during the week between the Miami hardcourt swing and the clay season opener in Linz. Those are precisely the skills that matter most when you are playing Jasmine Paolini on clay in Stuttgart. If those improvements are real, and they carry over from training into match conditions, the rematch becomes genuinely compelling. And then beyond Paolini, If Eala navigates that, there is the prospect of facing Elena Rybakina, the Wimbledon champion, the world number 2, one of the biggest servers in the sport. A player who hits the ball so clean and so flat that even clay does not slow it down enough to give most opponents time to react. Rybakina on clay is a different proposition from Rybakina on grass or hard court. She is still incredibly dangerous, but the longer rallies and higher bounces do present more opportunities for a baseline player like Eala to work with. And Eala has already demonstrated the ability to match the ball striking of top 10 players in big moments. That is not a fantasy scenario. That is a realistic examination of what Eala could face if she plays well enough. Let us also talk about the broader stakes here, because Stuttgart is not just about this tournament in isolation. It is the direct lead-in to the Madrid Open, which starts April 21st. And after Madrid comes Roland Garros at the end of May. These 3 tournaments are the heart of the clay season, and the 3 most important events Eala will play before the French Open. A deep run in Stuttgart, even a quarterfinal appearance, would give her significant ranking points, vital clay court match experience against top 10 opposition, and the kind of momentum and confidence that Roland Garros preparation requires. A quarterfinal in Stuttgart is worth 108 ranking points. A semifinal has 195. Those numbers matter enormously for a player sitting at 45th in the world who is trying to climb back toward the career high of 29th she reached in March. There is also one more factor that nobody should overlook when thinking about Alex Eala's prospects in Stuttgart. The crowd. Wherever Eala plays, the Filipinos find a way to be there. Germany has a significant Filipino diaspora. Europe broadly has millions of Filipino workers and residents who follow Eala's matches from Portugal to Poland and everywhere in between. The Porsche Arena in Stuttgart is going to have a section that sounds like it was transplanted directly from Manila. And when Eala gets a chance to play in front of that crowd, in her Stuttgart debut, in a tournament where she was not even supposed to be in the main draw, the emotional and competitive energy that comes from her fanbase is a real factor. It rattled Ostapenko enough in Linz that the Latvian turned to argue with a spectator during a match. It sold out every match in Dubai. It created a line hundreds of yards long at the Australian Open. In Stuttgart, on what is going to be one of the most hyped courts of the clay season, that energy is going to show up again. Stuttgart begins April 13th. The draw is set. The stage is ready. A Porsche 911 in tennis ball yellow is waiting for the champion. And Alex Eala, who is not supposed to be in this tournament at all, who slipped into the main draw as a late replacement, who lost a heartbreaking 5-1 second-set lead in Linz just 3 days ago, is walking into the Porsche Arena carrying everything she has learned and everything she has been building with Toni Nadal, with her full coaching team, and with the full force of an entire nation behind her. The draw is shocking, the field is stacked, and somehow, none of that has ever stopped Alex Eala from showing up and making things very interesting. Stuttgart is going to be a week to remember. Subscribe right now so you do not miss a single match from the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix. Turn on notifications, drop a comment below with your Stuttgart predictions, and check out the other videos on screen for more Eala coverage from the clay season. See you in the next one.